Hello to everyone. Jambo to you. My name is Leah Wandera. I'm from Kenya, but at this moment I'm reaching out to you from here in Omaha, in Nebraska. I am a deaconess in the United Methodist Church. I was commissioned in 2021, and as a deaconess, my ministry, my vocation focuses on advocating for health living and advancement of education among our girls and women in Kenya through a foundation called Wema Health Foundation that I started in 2019. So, what led me into the diaconate? As a layperson, I really had a desire to continue serving, but I deeply knew that I wasn't called into being a pastor. I'm actually, my father was a pastor. Um, but I felt like deeply called to follow a different path, which was still serving God. And I once served as a young missionary in Zimbabwe under the General Board of Global Ministries. And just being in the community, addressing social issues, I felt a very deep desire to continue being in service, to continue sharing God's love, especially when it comes to advocating for the rights, human rights, especially among the women and girls from my community. So the desire to bring this justice to our world, I can say, is what really led me into diaconate, because I really wanted to continue doing this for a lifetime. I really wanted to continue serving God for a lifetime. And so when I learned and knew that our church, the United Methodist Church, offers us that chance to continue being into service as laity, and especially doing justice work and sharing God's love, I felt deeply, deeply pulled and called into this. So, what's my diaconal work or ministry focus on? My diaconal ministry, as I had said, focuses on healthy living and advancement of education for girls. And this is an initiative that I started in 2019 to advocate for women's rights and girls' rights in my own community in Kenya. After having lived the experience, I felt like something needed to be done. We needed to break the cycle, and someone had to speak up, or we needed to create some initiative on how to do that. Having faced some of harmful traditional practices, child marriage, female genital mutilation, those are some of the harmful traditional practices that really affect we as young women and girls when we are growing up. And in a big way, it affects our development, our self realization, because in a way, it affects our advancement when it comes to education. And because I went to school, and I think that has given me even a chance to share with you this today. I thank all those people who came to support me to go to school. And I really felt like this still needs to be done. Fellow girls still need to be supported, especially to go to high school. Because if we don't, then child marriage, female genital mutilation, and other practices each and every day are knocking at their door, and it really affects our development. So after being an advocate, advocating for our rights for some time, I felt like this is something that God was strongly calling me to continue doing. And so my ministry focuses on alleviating suffering and supporting uh, potential development for our girls and our women when it comes to health living. When I talk about health living, we conduct advocacy for women to access medical services, for our hospitals to have better services, and to just support them in any other way that they can have a better living. And then for our girls, we support them to go to school, to get access to education, rescue them from any harmful zones when they're at risk of being married off at a very early age or being circumcised, because female genital mutilation is like a gateway to early marriage. And so we create that safe space, brave space for them to be able to be rescued and taken back to school through the foundation that I started in 2019 called Wema Health Foundation in Kenya. What biblical stories guides my diaconal ministry? One of the biblical story that guides my diaconal ministry, it's Micah mandate. Micah 6:8. What does the Lord require of me? Justice, love, mercy, and walking humbly. That is one of the biblical texts that guide my diaconal ministry. Another that I will say that strongly guides my diaconal ministry is the story in Mark 25. The story of the woman. The story of the woman who had been subjected to bleeding for 12 years. And when she heard about Jesus, she decides to go seek for the healing. Why does it guide my diaconal ministry? I read this story and I try to relate with it based on my context. The women and girls in my community continue to be subjected to bleeding, to violence for a long time, just like this woman. But it's not like they're really not trying to do something. They're trying to do something. They're yearning for that healing. They're trying to look for that healing. But imagine the struggle that this bleeding woman had to go through. Think of what the Bible, from Hebrew Bible to New Testament, talks about when it comes to women's bleeding, menstruation, how it talks about women's bleeding, and how that even affects their social life, their spiritual life. And so because of that patriarchal theology that is still there, our women are still subjected to such rules, such laws, such injustices, which makes them continue suffering, some in silence, some while they're still yearning and trying to get this help. And just as this woman, they have the boldness, the resilience, the resistance to try seek for help. But it's not easy. It wasn't easy for this woman to reach out to Jesus. Imagine all that crowd surrounding Jesus. And she's here trying to penetrate through these people, probably hiding, thinking of what will the person say if they get in contact with me because of my bleeding, because of the teaching that we read from our Bible, while trying to reach out to Jesus. But she was and really needed this. And she just touches that hem. And to me, I feel like that struggle is what our women are still going through. And just the way Jesus stopped and turned and looked around and said, "Daughter, you have been healed," I feel like that is how the world should stop, turn around, look around, rethink through, deconstruct all these rules and policies that continue to violate our women and girls, and say, hey, this has to come to a stop. You deserve your healing. You deserve your better life. So that is one of the biblical stories that guide my diaconal ministry. With resilience, we continue fighting, we continue reaching out to healing. And we believe that with advocacy and work that continue to be done, that healing is coming. Then what image of diaconia is important to me? The community and the nature of our service is very important to me. The community that we have, being siblings together in love, justice, and service that God has called us into, being in solidarity with one another, being there to spiritually support one another through the work that we do. And our service, our lifetime service. We give ourselves to this service. That encourages and inspires me each and every day to continue with the service that I've been called to. Thank you.